So guys, we're going to talk to Jose about his background in gaming and what amazing adventures he's been on before he came to the wonderful world of Antstream.
Hello.
If you just let everyone know, what do you do here at Antstream? Or at least your title. Don't give away all the secrets.
Yeah, I don't think I know any much secrets. I'm only here for half a year for now. Yeah. Now I'm a front-end developer, so I do the UI.
Oh, so you're working on making the website look beautiful?
Yes. I like making things beautiful, and that's what I do.
Brilliant. So a lot of people don't know that you, Jose, have actually been working on making a video game yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to tell us about that video game?
Yeah, I'm working on Exophobia, which is a first-person shooter in the style of the old Wolfenstein 3D game. So it's not even Doom, where you have like verticality and all that. Fake verticality, but it's even more basic than that. Just good old Wolfenstein 3D, where you just move your gun left and right and shoot baddies. In this case, aliens, because you're trapped in this spaceship. And yeah, that's the game, Exophobia.
So what made you come up with this idea for the in space FPS?
Yeah. So this is Space FPS is my first commercial title. Before that, I used to do a lot of game jams. At the time, I was doing a lot of online game jams and physical game jams. One of my favorites was Ludum Dare, where you could make a game in 48 hours all by yourself. You couldn't use any help or assets. You could use some assets like music and sounds, but not much more than that. If you wanted to participate in the solo one, the team of the Game Jam just sparked this idea in me about a space FPS. At the time, I wasn't really an FPS fan. I played these old ones, and not really very fond of the most AAA ones of the time, modern ones. And I just thought, what if I did an FPS? What would it look like? And that's where it came, the idea of Wolfenstein, taking the basics and make it more modern and feel good and fresh at the same time, and still have that nostalgia of you're playing the first FPSs of the time. Yeah.
So 48 hours, was that all by yourself you had to make the game, or did you work in a team?
Yeah, I did by myself, yeah. But at the time, it was really just a very small prototype. The current game right now doesn't use any of the code I did at the time because it was so messy. It was just like a small prototype. It didn't even play that good, and it was messy, and couldn't even finish because the levels were so bad, and I forgot to put a key card, because you use key cards to open doors, and I forgot to do that. So when I uploaded the game, the first draft, it was very bad, and it was kind of unfinishable. You couldn't finish the game. But I really liked the idea. People were really fond of the color palette of the blue. And yeah, I think it sparked some interest because of how retro it looked, and with the pixel art and all that. And that's why I decided to keep working on it, even from that small prototype.
You wanted to make kind of a retro game, but in a modern look?
The look itself is retro, but it plays a bit more smoothly than the Wolfenstein 3D, for instance. Because at the time we didn't have as much technology, was so advanced. So now I can make the game will go faster.
Mm-hmm.
The resolution be higher of the textures and all that. So it kind of feels like a retro game, but it plays a bit different than the old ones that created this genre.
So then the next important question is, how did you get into gaming then? So from the start, did you know you wanted to make a game? Did you do anything at uni or study anything?
I started making games since I was in middle school, because I found out about Game Maker, which is a tool I use to make games. I really recommend it for people that are starting out, because if you don't have any coding experience, it really helps you out just to build their first game, like, and see things move. It's an incredible experience. Just like, okay, I made this. I'm making this world. I'm creating this world. Even if you never programmed before, which was my case at the time. Like, I was in middle school. I found out about Game Maker. I didn't even know what code was. I was just moving blocks and all that. Game Maker allows you to make games using that. But with time, I was making my games, and then I found out like what coding was about. Started dabbling a bit with it. It was scary at first, but I started seeing some evolution. And by the time I was finishing high school, I decided I wanted to study computer science, and that's what I did for college, just to make my games feel better with coding. I was dabbled a bit in art also, so that was nice. I really like to draw and make pixel art. I discovered with Game Maker that I like to do pixel art. But I'll evolve a bit from there, like I wanted to make games. I wanted to do my own games, my own worlds and ideas. And that's why I always wanted to go through this path of going solo and develop them. The games, really small games, but with a lot of care and attention to detail.
Would you advise that people, if they want to, for example, focus on art or focus on coding, that they should learn a bit of everything because it will be useful?
Yeah, like it depends on your plan. If what do you like to do? Or do you want to work in AAA? Do you want to do your own games as an hobby? Do you want to professionally do them with a small team, like where you really focus on the game and do it full time? It really depends on what is your end goal there, and you should work towards your end goal. Like if you're going to work in AAA, you don't really need a lot of to know a lot of things, just the basics, so you know how to work in a team and like when your own work to be compatible with the teams around you and the people around you. So you need to also, like, if you're coding, for instance, and you are very good at coding, you should know at least what the artists go through, just so you make their life easier, And the same applies to the artists. They should make the programmers' life easier with their own work, They should at least learn a bit of every area. But of course, if you want to go in AAA, you're going to work in a very specific team. And yeah, of course, you should really work on your craft as much as you can, so you can become really good at what you are and be hired. But if you want to do like in more indie side of things, in indie games where the teams are smaller and everyone has to use a lot of hats. But what I mean by that is that they have to do a lot of things that it wasn't expected. Like no one is only doing one specific thing. Everyone is doing, like, even if you're like a producer, you have to program or make music. Like there's a lot of indie teams that are 3-5 people or even more that have to do a lot of things. If that's the case, you want to follow that, of course you want to learn more about the things. But I advise you to just learn about the things that you're passionate about, because if you're really doing indie dev professionally, you have to do these things with a passion, and because otherwise it becomes a work and it can be hard. So it really depends on what's the path you want to take if you want to make games.
So then, what was your decision? Did you want to do AAA or did you want to be indie? Did you want full control?
Yeah, never really wanted to do AAA because I always been a fan of retro games and indie games and all those small experiences that you can play, and they feel nice and all that, and everything I wanted when making games was like to make some of that, like those complete experiences where an author gets complete control of everything, and you can really feel the passion that went into the game itself, because it was like very homogenized by a single author or a small team. And that's where I always focus my goals. And my goal now is like to release my first commercial game, which is what I'm trying to do. And even this, I'm trying to do as with the smallest team as possible. Like I work doing the code and the art. But I hired people to do the sound effects and the music, because that's something I never learned. And I wanted to be good, so I had to hire someone who really understands music and worked in it for a long time, which was a friend of mine, a Portuguese friend of mine, which does a really cool music. You should check the trailer out and then his work. And yeah, you still feel like they were hired to do that. But at the same time, like, I want to have as much decision in everything I do, especially, for instance, like the key art of the game. You see, the aliens and all that. I drew all them myself because I like drawing. It might not be the best thing ever, but I wanted to have some control in that too. Like, okay, it's my game. I wanted to do it my own way. It's kind of a bit of control freak kind of thing, but it's what I wanted to do. So even if it means more work to me or to delay the game a bit more, I want to have that control. So it really depends on what decisions you make. Like a lot of indie teams just hire people to do every bit of the game. Like maybe it's just someone that knows how to code, just hires the artist and the music team and all that. That's also valid, of course, because it really depends on what you're trying to deliver. If it's a really professional product, you don't mind like having a big team on it. Yeah, you go ahead. But in my case, I wanted to really do a more smaller thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and that way there'll be someone to actually focus on that particular aspect. So did you feel that you've picked up a lot of things along the way?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been working on this game for like 3 years now, and I feel like my skills have been evolving. I look at the first enemies I did in the game, and their pixel art is so much simpler than the last enemies I did in the game, because I was like getting better at art, I think, along the way, even getting better at code. Like I look at your old code I did when I started the project, and no, yeah, if I was starting this today, I would do it differently.
Oh yeah, things change, don't they? And your thinking changes too. You're wiser.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I hope like next game, if it ever comes, I'm more prepared for a lot of things, and I don't get caught off guard by some things that happen, like my own bad code and all that. So yeah.
Well, the first project's always going to be the hardest, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but for new skills, if we're talking about new skills.
Yeah.
I guess like we could say like marketing is one of them. Like it's very important, and I had no idea because I never marketed a game before. I only worked in GameJams games, and since they are free and everyone can play them, like I would just post them online, and okay, people will play it.
Yeah.
People who got in the game jam also played just out of courtesy, like just to review your game and give you feedback, which is always nice. But I never had that goal of okay, this game has to be seen by a lot of people because it has to make money. So yeah, that's where marketing comes in, and I never thought about that before, and it was really a big learning curve because I'm not really used to get attention for my things.
Okay. So do you think that is really important for gaming? So, for example, posting about your games. Like, how do you get people to look at your game without you being like, "Hey, look at my game, random person"?
Yeah, that's a whole thing of itself. It's a big thing that you have to learn. There's a lot of strategies, a lot of documented steps that you could go through to do that. At first, I just followed my instinct and just posted on Twitter. I had a Twitter account and like, okay, let's show game.
Yeah.
The Twitter is very good has a very big gaming audience for indie games, especially developers. So if you post gameplay there, you're probably going to get some developer eyes on it. Not much as players because it's mostly used by developers. But they'll get you some feedback. Most importantly, you can get seen by publishers. So if you're looking for funding or any help on marketing and all that, big publishers can help you on that, and they are constantly watching what people post on Twitter, especially on the hashtags. Do you know hashtags in Twitter?
No. Oh, hashtags. Oh, I love hashtags.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a couple of hashtags that is Screenshot Saturday that's been used like every Saturday people post gameplay of their games and it gets seen. And it's very important for people that are trying to showcase their game. But the thing is, no one knows when a post goes viral. It's just a gamble. You post, sometimes you post gameplay and you'll get like 3 likes. Sometimes you post in another day and another hour and it gets like 1,000 likes. No one knows. But it's really hard to get that first attention on the game. So it's really a matter of time. Just give it time and people might find it, or maybe there's just something that's not appealing for your game. It's just something you have to decide, given the numbers and all that. There's a lot of strategy behind it.
I mean, like you said, you've been working on this for 3 years, so you're going to slowly release information about it. So, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah, and I also had some help with community management too. Because I was just so tired of doing marketing by myself. Like, you kind of have to spend a lot of time on marketing because you have to make assets, like record the game, make the visuals for the posts and all that, and it takes a lot of time that you could be spending on your game, of course.
Yeah, it is long, and like you said, it's kind of a roulette, really. One hashtag might get someone with a massive following to see you and retweet you, and then suddenly, you've gone viral, and you don't even. And it was probably like a picture of you designing an alien foot, and you're like, "Wow, why is this pixelated alien foot done so well?" But you can't even measure it half the time. It's just luck of the draw. But you're right. There's a lot of.
There's no formula for it.
Exactly. There's no formula, and you have to pay every single department loads of attention. So do you have any, like, for example, though, so you started that off, in a game jam?
Yeah.
That game, yeah, okay.
It's one of the most known game jams, like, online.
Okay.
You can just sign up. It happens, I think, 3 months. So every 3 months.
Can anyone sign up? Anyone, even if they don't have a gaming background?
Yeah, anyone can join, yeah. Like, the rule is just to deliver a game. It might not be easy for a first-time participant, but the rule is to make something really small, so you know that you can finish it instead of just trying to make a giant game. Just try to make something really small if it's your first time, and then you can deliver a game that everyone can play.
Oh, that's amazing. So then you started that off as a game jam, and then, like, how did you go? Like, what was your next step? You had to find someone who... Did you win the game jam?
Oh, no. Yeah, the Legendary actually has, like, a score, so you can, like, be in the podium, like, you can win.
Oh.
You don't get anything by it, but it's just, like, you get more visibility. Like, there are a lot of games that are known today, a lot of indie games that are kind of went big on these game jams. But that's if it's your first time, that shouldn't be a goal, just so you know that you can release a game. I think that should be your primary focus. And if you do well, that's a bonus, But you don't need to win it. Just, like, put something out there and see if people are playing it, if they complement the game. And, like, the reason I started working on it after the prototype was because I saw a lot of interest on it. People were commenting. I also uploaded the game to itch.io, which is the indie game store where everyone can publish their games there.
Okay. So that's how it was visible to everyone. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you have access to a dashboard where you can see, like, the views and all that. And it was a game that was doing the best out of my all other game jam games. So I picked this one as, like, okay, I'll follow on this one because it seems to have to gather a lot of attention, even if the gameplay is bad, because at the time it was impossible, like I said. So it was great. So what if I made it a good game? Yeah, would people still kept their interest? And then when I started working on it, I showcased it on Twitter and all that, and it was gathering a lot of attention from really small gifts and all that. And okay, I have something here that I should pursue,
Yeah, and of course the whole point was you improved the gameplay, right? With all the feedback you got.
Yeah, the gameplay changed a lot, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been changing a lot, yeah, since people are playing and all the public demos and all that. The character has changed its speed. There are not a lot of new abilities and all that. Not only with feedback, but because the game itself had to be bigger, you know. In the game jam, it was just a couple levels, but now the game has to like take some hours to finish. So it should more features should be added and more stuff. So it keeps the player interested for a longer time.
Okay. Yeah, no, of course, that's the main thing. And also, how did you get a publisher?
Right. Yeah. That's a nice story because it's something every developer um, tries to achieve, and it's kind of hard. I think I just got lucky, you know. I never planned on that. Like my first intention with the game was like, okay, I want to make games professionally somehow, and I want to launch this one, and I'll make a small game, a small shooter, and all that. And I'll do it. I'll do everything myself except the sound. I have this friend helping me with the music and all that. And I'll release it on Steam, and then I'll see how it goes. And if it goes well, I'll keep making games like this. If not, I'll just give up or something. I don't know. I'll decide later. No, yeah, because that's the thing, you know. When if you're doing games, you have to have some return because you can't live just by doing the game itself, you know. But at the time, I was like, okay, everyone is talking about publishers and friends of mine and all the devs. I was like, okay, let me just try it and talk with some. And I was receiving a lot of emails from people that were interested in publishing the game and sending me their offers just by posting on Twitter.
And really? That easy? Yeah. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe it either. I just think I got lucky because the right person saw the tweets, you know. Like, you can't even plan like that. I just got an email and I was like, okay, let's keep chatting and seeing the conditions. And then I found out ones that I liked. That was it, basically.
Of course.
But a lot of people have. I heard a lot of nightmare stories about it because there are other devs, friends of mine, that's basically screwed by their publisher.
They get a really bad deal, right? Yeah. You got to be.
Yeah.
So how did you kind of know you had a good deal? Did you do any research beforehand? Did you speak to anyone in the gaming industry?
Yeah. The gaming industry in Portugal is very small, but everyone knows each other. So you can just get a lot of information just by going, hey, can you tell me what was your experience with this thing and with that thing? And a lot of people, mostly producers, just talk to them, people I know that I'm good friends with, because the community is small, but everyone is friendly.
Yeah.
And we know each other, so we just DM each other like doubts, or we call, like I literally called a friend and said, is this deal good? And he was like, yeah, it's nice. And let me tell you a story about another deal that wasn't so good. You should be paying attention to this and that, so you don't get screwed. And yeah, that was really nice. It's nice to have that support here.
Definitely from your community, and just knowing the right questions to ask, because I think you get so excited with the opportunity. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't actually ask them, how much money am I getting? And then they give you a bag of peanuts and you're like, oh no.
Very shortened version, that's it. Yeah.
No, exactly. I think that's really important.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you have to be careful with, like rights. If you're giving your entire rights to the publisher, you don't want to lose your ideas, you know, your IP is very important, so you should keep it and all that. There's a lot of things when you see a big contract, you have no idea what you're reading, and that's really hard. If possible, you should get a lawyer first. Like, I've been advised to do that also. Yeah. It's very scary first when the only thing you know is like to make games, you know, code and art, and then you see like big business things, and it's scary at first, but yeah.
That's amazing. And so once you got yourself a publisher, did they kind of kind of lay out what you needed to do next, or did you kind of just do your own thing and just let them know when updates were ready or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's every publisher works differently, you know. The only reason, one of the reasons I chose this one was that they were very cool with everything. Like they said up front that we don't want to mess with the game. I do my own thing, and they do their own thing, and we'll just keep in touch and see where it goes. But there are other publishers that are not like that. That they will right off the bat when you sign with them, they will just give you some milestones, and you have to follow them. If not, you'll probably get penalized by something like probably you won't appear in a show or something like that, and your game might get pushed back and not get as many benefits as the other games of the publisher. So you really have to follow their things. Sometimes even in most drastic cases, the publisher itself can hire a producer, just like that. Maybe you're not doing a good job finishing things, and they might hire a producer to put you in line, which is really scary for me. I didn't want any of that. So it was cool to have the support of my publisher like this, and they let me do my thing, and I can control everything like I always wanted to do. It was nice of them to allow me for that. And every publisher is different. They should really know how they work. Before signing with them, maybe talk with the devs that worked with them before, which is a good sign to know what they will do and how they work. So always be cautious and talk with other devs to see if that deal you're signing in is what you want to do.
That's very good point. And so along that way, what would you say are the biggest challenges that you faced?
Oh, yeah.
Come on, this is what we need to know. This is the hard stuff that everyone's too, big-eyed and excited about entering the gaming world, but we need to know, what obstacles are we going to face?
All right. Yeah. I will just be talking personally.
Yeah, that's fine. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, yeah, like I said, if you never launch the game, so if it's your first time, you'll probably have to learn biz dev, which is the act of negotiating things with publishers and all that.
Yeah.
And even with Steam and all that, so you can get your game. Just making deals with stores and publishers just to get more benefits for your game. So it's just not because you can just launch your game and expect people to buy it or play it. You really have to be active and trying to get good deals and focus a lot on marketing. So that's if you're making a game and you really like the development part of it.
Yep.
If you want to launch it, you have to also care about those things. That was one of the biggest challenges because at the time I didn't know I needed that. So I spent a lot of time researching and actually doing those things. So I was cautious about it and not trying to rush things and so something didn't go wrong, That's one of the things you can spend a lot of time, and maybe you're not counting on it, but you should spend a lot of time with that. As for other challenges, I would say development challenges. I would say the thing, I was not working with the genre I was very familiar with,
Okay.
That you see a lot of devs I'm making my dream game because I always played platformers and I'm making a platformer, which is okay, nice. So you know a lot about platformers because you've been playing platformers since you were a kid, and maybe you played even the most obscure platformers ever, and the game you're trying to make really expands on that, and gets really a lot of benefit from all your culture about the platforming genre, and your game gets better because of that. And that didn't happen with me because, like I said, I was not really a big fan of FPSs at the time. I started to like them more as long as I'm making this game. So that didn't happen with me. I didn't have much experience with FPSs, and I kind of tried to make that to my advantage. Make an FPS that was not for the FPS fans, which is kind of contradictory, I know, but yeah, trying to do my own thing and make something like this that felt a bit more fresh, you know. But it can be a challenge because sometimes you're trying to come up with design challenges, like if you face some design challenges, like should the character here move like this or move like that, or should it shoot like this or like that, that you're not really familiar with, like because you didn't play a lot of games. So I was trying to reinvent the wheel a bit, trying to do it my own way, and that was one of the biggest challenge because yeah, you kind of spend a lot of time just thinking about um, what makes this genre the genre that it is, instead of just having this prior knowledge from playing a lot of games from this genre. And yeah, that's it. And then just trying to one other thing I can think of is like trying to schedule your work, which is like you think you can do stuff in like a bit of time. Like okay, I can do this in a month, but okay, you must double it because it will never be like that. Even if you finish something and think that you can extrapolate to like okay, I did this in one day, and I can do the next things in 2-3 days. That will not happen because life will get in the way, especially for your full time. Like you have to really manage your time really well, like because you might get be so caught up in it. Like okay, I'm having fun programming the game, but then you just don't notice that you've been programming till late at night, and then you do this every day, then you'll eventually burn out. So you have to really have a good time management skills when you first start to do this full time. Yeah. And for people that are doing part time, it's also a really big challenge to find time to work on the game. I would say like try to work at least 1 hour every day, just so you don't lose momentum. That's what people usually say. And yeah, that's it. Basically, all the challenges that I faced. I would say not because I really wanted to. And when I started working on it, I had like the really big goal in mind. Like, okay, I want to launch this. It's my first launch, my first paid game. You know, like
Yeah.
people will pay to play this. So I I, I was not very. I didn't get bored for it. You know. And then when the publisher came in, okay, now it's a real deal. I have to finish it and not move on. So yeah, that's a way to get you accountable for it. You know, like if you're doing an hobby, doing it by hobby, of course it doesn't matter if you release it or not. So that might be harder because of course you could like get demotivated. Like okay, I made this game, but now I have to go through the hardest part. I don't know if anyone is familiar with game development, but like the hardest part is really coming up with content. Like if you finish all the core features of the game and then you have to do content like levels, um, stuff like that, like enemies and all that, things that add up, and and then you get to a place where you're playing your own game, like it feels like an eternity, you know, and it can get boring. But if you're already held yourself accountable for that, okay, I really have to launch that. It gets easier.
So basically, money motivates you, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
It is a legit.
If you're doing
answer.
it as an hobby, it's yeah. If you're doing it as an hobby, it's really hard to. I don't have any solution for that.
No, that's different.
Probably be bored by your own work. You know,
but I guess
that also depends on why are you doing the game. Are you doing it because it's fun?
You did mention that at the start. It's a project of passion, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because if you're doing just because it's fun, you're gonna stop once you stop having fun. Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
But if you're doing it to get released, it's harder to just let it go.
What advice would you give to other game devs that face this problem of lack of motivation and being interested by the end?
I didn't face that because in the first year I was developing, I just signed up with the publisher. So okay, now it's a real deal. I have to deliver. And well, I would say like if you're doing this but as an hobby, I would say like try to make creating content as fun as it can be. You know, like instead of if you're doing like levels and you don't like how the level editor is, like it's boring and takes you a lot of time. and all that, but try to make it more fun. Maybe like build a tool to make level building more fun. Or if you don't like making levels, just make like a level editor. If you have fun programming, right?
Yeah.
You can just like make a level editor, and users will do their own levels. Just make like your game about user generated content. Like try to change your own goal. Okay, if I don't like making levels, I'll just let the users make the levels for me, something like that. Or just hire someone for that part of the content part. If I don't like making more enemies and all that, I'll just make like a smaller game.
Mm-hmm.
Try to come up with ways to make it to keep your work more fun. Like if you really like programming, continue programming and let everyone else do the boring part. If you like art, just do the art part and make a really logic. Again, that doesn't require much logic and programming. Try to make up as much most fun for you.
That's really interesting about the level making, because that's a tool, but then it can also be used to let the user have some fun, like Mario Maker, that was very popular, or even Super Load Runner, which we have on Antstream. That's quite cool that you can have a go at stuff, but if you're really into the making, you can just do it yourself. So yeah, that's a very cool aspect. Making your own tools. And
yeah, that's what that. Yeah.
Carry on. Yeah.
Sorry?
Oh no, carry on. Oh, sorry, did I interrupt you?
Oh, okay, yeah. No. I'm just trying to find if the weapon is cool with mine. Yeah, like that's one of the parts. If you try to make everything fun, is that how you not demotivate yourself? But it all comes up to the goal you have and what you want to accomplish.
No, that's great. And with all these skills you've picked up along the way, whether at a game jam, whether in your studies, whether at events, so what would you say brought to Antstream, I guess? Because I guess everybody's interested to see what magic you're bringing to our UI.
Well, when you're making games, you have to kind of pick up these skills of making everything react. Like when you're if you're making an animation or all that, doesn't really everything has to look good. But in the games, they also have to feel good. When you're playing, the game itself has to feel good, and how the character reacts, how things react to your actions and all that. And that's one of the skills I want to bring to web development, which is like, okay, you're using this web page and it has to feel good, it has to be fun to use and all that. Like Antstream is all about games, so I want to make Antstream feel like you're playing a game. Everything is bouncing, everything is fun to use. Yeah, that's a skill I want to bring to Antstream, and I hope I can accomplish it in the new Vision update.
Exactly. I want you to activate like a hidden gun so I can shoot little invaders on the menu screen. That'd be fun.
That's not planned, but yeah, a lot of really small game things, not just like playing like you're actually playing a game, but like make the
game within a game.
Navigating things feel like you're playing a game. Like,
yes,
it should be fun and engaging.
Exactly. So like when you're choosing games on the menu, you can shoot at them and they explode and fireworks everywhere.
I'll let my team know.
Excellent. And Jose, what is your favorite aspect of making games?
My favorite aspect, I think it's just the fact that you can create your own worlds and see things moving. Like you're actually like in this own world you created, and everything works the way you intended to. I think that's my favorite part of the making games.
Amazing. Yeah. Okay, so the last one, I have one more question. What's your favorite game on Antstream?
Ah, that's hard. I'm not really a good person to answer like favorite thing, because I can't really just pick one thing.
Oh, come on. Come on. Okay, top three. Top three, Jose.
Okay, I will say like Metal Slug. I have really fond memories of like Metal Slug, and it was nice to revisit that. It was the first game I picked up when I played Antstream for the first time. It's Metal Slug. I really had a lot of fun with that. Yeah, can't remember anything else, but I really like how Antstream allows me to just get to know more games. Like I've always been a retro game fan, but I only knew the mainstream things like the Nintendos and all that. I did. Well, I had no idea like there were so many cool games on the Spectrum and the Amiga and all that because I never played that when I was young. Um, so it's been really nice to get to know these more obscure games and play them and see how creative they were. Like they were made in a time where people were making games in small themes and they were just so creative and they could do everything they wanted at the time. So you can see a lot of good ideas and bad ideas, but it's so good because you see like, yeah, games were very creative back then. And that's what I like most about Endstream is discovering these retro games.
And it's nice seeing how gaming evolved as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With like how they were with like restricted resources, like just like for example, like Commodore 64, they could only have certain sounds in it. So having to make music with a limited amount of sounds, whereas now we can have everything and anything.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a really good surprise to play this for a creative. It's good to go back to the roots and like, whoa, they were doing. How are these people solving these game design problems and all that? It's really nice seeing that.
Oh, okay. We have another question. The previous question was from the Code Therapy. Thank you so much. And the next question is from Daza. I missed the beginning. What games has he made and is working on, and on what systems?
Right.
Okay.
That's a good follow-up because I was about to say, okay, the game is Exophobia. It's a retro FPS, a sci-fi retro FPS with pixel art, and it's currently on coming soon on Steam. So if you could wishlist it, that would be great. You can just wishlist the games to get to know when it comes out. And it's going to be for PC and consoles.
Great.
It will also release on consoles on the same day. It's due to release this year. We still don't know the month.
Ooh, 2023, guys.
But basically, we'll show the game to more people if the more wishlists it has. So yeah, it's always nice. On Twitter, I'm always pushing for wishlists. Every dev is like, the more wishlists you have, the more people will get notified when it comes out, which is always good because you get a lot more customers on day one. So the more people that buy the game on the first days, the more popular it gets. So it's always a good indicator for that. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't know how that works, but I think next time you're on our podcast, we'll be asking you about Steam and wish lists and how the marketing works. You can help me with my job as well, Jose.
Yeah, Steam is like a giant thing.
It's its own monster, isn't it?
I'm always learning new things every day. Yeah,
100%. I'm in that same boat. Right, it was absolutely fantastic having you, Jose. If also he's doing a great job on improving the UI for the Antstream, which part of our vision update we are really, really excited to unveil sooner or later. But thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.